The 154-pound division in boxing is really shaping up to be one of the most strongest divisions. We're seeing so much talent, and there's only 4 belts. But I'm going to tell you something. They may get scattered, but there's one man who is looking to put his hands on a belt, and I want to see him get the opportunity. And we're talking about Shareable Bohachuk, who has had some interesting affairs take place with his career as of late. But this is a man who I do believe is destined for an opportunity at a world title. And it may come soon against one of the most prominent names in the sport. Let's talk about Shareable, the 154-pound division, and what could be on the table for 2025. The 154-pound division in boxing, junior middleweight, is riddled, sprinkled, and really amassed with talent. And with fighters the likes of Shareable Bohachuk are available, you can guarantee you're going to see some great action from a fighter like this. Now, according to an article in Boxing Scene written by Lance Pugmire, link will be in the description box, he's talking about the division, Bohachuk, and what we might be looking towards in 2025. As it goes, with 3 champions and multiple elite contenders banging on the door in the junior middleweight division, Shareable Bohachuk has some work to do to find the clearest path to a belt. That effort is eased, Bohachuk promoter Tom Loeffler says, because there is likely no one in the division more willing to meet any fighter in the group at any location at any time. Yeah, I paused because I want you to catch those words. In other words, he is very much a most willing participant in the division, looking to face whomever he can. He goes on to say, there's no question that Bohachuk's willingness to engage with any 154-pounder is supreme. Loeffler told Boxing Scene this week, days after the Ukrainian dominated a replacement fight for the ill former champion Israel Madrimov and trounced Ishmael Davis by a 6-round stoppage after 2 earlier knockdowns in Saudi. He's one of the most exciting fighters in boxing, with his knockout ratio being 96% and his interest in fighting anyone. He reminded that Bohachuk, who's 25-2 with 24 KOs, was due to fight current WBO, WBC junior middleweight champion Sebastian Fundora March 30th before Keith Thurman was injured, leaving Fundora to step in and fight then champion Tim Tszyu. Fundora emerged with a split decision triumph and then turned his attention to former welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. Bohachuk defeated Brian Mendoza by a wide decision earlier that March 30th. Fundora on that card with Fundora and Tim Tszyu after Mendoza had knocked out Fundora. Listen, the whole thing is, when you think about fighters like Sergey Bohachuk, they just want to get in there and prove that they're the best. And those are the best type of fighters to get behind and support. In his fight against Virgil Ortiz Jr., it was an opportunity for Sergey to really show his wares, and he did. That August 2024 match took place and saw him lose a majority decision when he had Ortiz down twice in the fight, was picking off most of Ortiz's punches. He had shown the ability to block and protect himself well, as Ortiz was very busy with throwing shots wildly but not landing and scoring as cleanly and precise as Bohachuk. It was very interesting how the judges had the fight scored at the end of the day. If you're talking about having the lesser of two evils, you're talking about Bohachuk's performance was such that he looked like he was really enjoying himself, and Ortiz Jr. was looking like he was trying to survive or trying to put himself in a position to be that false bravado, like, okay, I'm good, but I'm not necessarily doing well. That's how it turned out to be. And Bohachuk, who never gave up in that fight and continued to press the action, but it was moments that Virgil had that where he unleashed combinations and they looked great, but everything was not scoring. And I'm sorry, Golden Boy is behind Virgil, and that was the difference there. I believe Oscar's influence is what propelled Virgil to the decision in that fight, but it's okay, because now Virgil is in a situation where he is about to face Israel Madrimov, and it's looking like that fight might end up being extremely tough for Virgil. Sometimes in the sport of boxing, there's just a truth to be told, and some fighters are not often ready and prepared for the truth. We've seen it happen so many times. There are guys who are promoted very well, they're handled perfectly, they're matched up well, and then when it's really time to buckle down, they fall apart. And I don't believe that Sergey Bohachuk is a fighter that's going to fall apart, but I do believe he's a fighter that's going to make a difference, whomever his opponent may happen to be. And just like his, guy Tom is saying, with the willingness to want to get in against anyone, it's going to make a difference. You got the likes of Jermell Charlo, who wants to come back. Also, the new IBF champion, Bakram Murtuliziev, who wants to come back after he recovers from an injury. And don't forget Errol Spence. If the Fundora fight doesn't happen, he could end up in there with Bohachuk as well, because Bohachuk is not ducking anybody. Then you think back and you talk about the likes of guys like Erickson Lubin. They're still out there. There are so many fighters that are in a position to get something done. Sergey could play spoiler to a lot of these guys. And what's really more is some of them are finding ways to not face guys. I mean, look at how Israel Madrimov ducked him. He was supposed to be on that Riyadh season card against Sergey and came up with bronchitis. But you're a professional fighter, so that means road work, calisthenics, all types of working out in the gym on a consistent basis for sometimes 6 to 8 to 12 weeks at a time, and you develop bronchitis, huh? But it's going to be okay and healed and gone away for you to meet up with Virgil. I don't know about that. But what I do know about is when you talk about fighters like Sergey, he's going to be in there and he's going to be in the thick of things until he's not. And he is also capable of defeating a lot of these guys that are out there simply on his will alone. And that can make a difference. When we talk about fighters who are really willing to get after it, Bohachuk's name should always be at the forefront. And I'm betting to dollars to donuts that eventually in 2025, one of those titles are going to find its way home around his waist. But what do you think? This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts about Sergey Bohachuk and what you see on the horizon for him. Do you see him becoming a champion, possibly before the end of 2025? Do you see him having the opportunity? Because that's more important, that he gets the opportunity. There will be guys who will kind of circumvent and deviate away from his path because he is someone that could upset a lot of plans. Leave comments and let's discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.